The Denver market's changing. It's time for a mid-month market update. Hey everybody, it's Alyson Wahl with Live South Denver, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. The market is moving so quickly, like every 2 weeks it's making a change, so I want to keep you on the cusp of everything new. The market's putting out great signs for buyers. We're absolutely starting to see the signs of a slowing market. Now, I'm not saying it's a slow market, so don't come racing thinking that you are gonna grab up a house for less than list price right now. That is not happening. But here's what's going on. Homes are starting to see fewer showings. We aren't getting booked up through the whole weekend. We aren't stacking up 3 and 4 buyers in the house at the same time. We're certainly starting to see homes receiving fewer offers as well. Part of that is there is a little bit more inventory. I'll fill you in on that in a second. And there's just a little bit less buyer demand. When we saw these signs last year, this was the start of the turn of the tide of getting out of the insane bidding wars that we had last year and turning the corner towards something that was a little bit more normal, back toward the pace of the market where we actually were starting to see where we could grab houses for list price or very close to list price, sometimes no bidding war, sometimes the only offer on the table. So these are hints and clues that are telling me we are starting to get to where we may get back to a normal market. And seeing this in April, turning the corner to May, gives me some hope that we might get there before July of this year. Last year, July and August is when we turned that corner. Seeing this happen this early in the year tells me we may get there sooner this year. The other clue we may be turning the corner a little bit sooner is we are actually seeing a lot of price drops. So that clues us in that buyers aren't willing to snatch up any old house in any condition, and that sellers or their agents, whichever the guilty party are, can't just put anything on the market at any price. Sometimes sellers get stars in their eyes and think their home can fetch anything in a hot market, and it absolutely can't. So we are seeing homes are dropping in price to fetch in a new pool of buyers and get some activity. That is definitely another sign that we are turning the corner. All that good news to say we are certainly a market in transition. The great homes, the beautiful homes, the ones with a beautiful flow and footprint, certainly if they have great flooring, nice paint, move-in ready, very few updates needed, multiple offers all day long. Within those multiple offers, there's usually what we would call bully deadlines. That means that someone has said, hey, here's my great offer. Don't wait to accept it until Sunday night. I want you to accept it now. They may give a signing bonus. They want that house off the table and they don't want to compete with 3 or 4 more other buyers and their aggressive offers as well. And for those great houses with multiple offers, there are certainly excellent terms. So we've got tight deadlines. We've got as many waived contingencies as possible. It is a fight to the death for those beautiful houses. So we are not in a place where a buyer finds a great house and they are the only one to swoop in and snatch it up. Now, over the last couple weekends, I have had 5-6 clients go under contract. A couple of those were new construction, several of those went to existing homes, and one of those was a listing. Now, the new construction, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Of my existing home buyers that went under contract, 2 of those got under contract at list price. Yep, that was very exciting. Another one of my buyers got under contract on a beautiful home that really doesn't need much updating at all for less than 10% over list price. Another win because we really passed the 10% over list price mark for great homes back at the end of February. So we have been past that mark for nearly 2 months. That's another sign to me that we are turning a corner. Now, my listing just went under contract. I don't dish on numbers or too many details on that until we close. What I will tell you is we did end up with multiple offers. We had very strong terms and I have very happy sellers. What was interesting to me are the number of buyers that came in late. So I had put out our offer deadline. I told people when we were going to be accepting the offer. And at the last hour, the 11th hour, I had several agents calling me back saying, oh, my buyers have had a change of heart. They do want to offer on this home. So what I suspect happened is we were their second choice and they lost out on their first choice and were coming back to play with us. However, we had accepted a fantastic offer to the buyer where we were their first choice and they played hard, fast, and furious to get this home. So I talked a little bit about how there has been less buyer demand. It's been easier to get in to see showings. There have been fewer showings and fewer offers. Some of that has been related to inventory. This past weekend was the weekend after Easter. It was a very quiet inventory weekend over Easter, and I will tell you, for my clients that wanted to offer over Easter weekend, it was pretty intense. It was a hard fight to get a home. Now, this last weekend, much easier, because there were a lot of sellers who didn't want traffic in their home over Easter. They wanted to have family events, have grandkids around, family around. So Easter weekend was very tight on inventory, and all of that overflowed to this last weekend, where we had our first, or maybe only second, weekend ever since summer of 2020, where new listings have outpaced both the homes we've put under contract and the homes that we have sold in a week. So this was a huge weekend of new listings here, which helped with where all the buyers went to put their attention. If we have that happen again in the next week and the week coming, then that tells us we've certainly made a turn on the inventory side of things. We're gonna have to keep our eyes peeled. I have a feeling it was a little bit of an Easter glitch, if you will, but we will see. So let's talk rates and what impact they're having. Everyone knows we've hit that painful mark of roughly 5% interest rates in the market. A little bit of give, a little bit of take, depending on obviously where your credit score is, if you're doing a jumbo loan, a conventional loan, those kinds of things. That mark of 5% has certainly put a damper on buyers and their buying power. Now, the Mortgage Bankers Association chairman has said that he thinks we've roughly hit the cap on interest rates. He's the only one who has said that. I would so hope he's right, but he's so much out on a limb on his own that even his own economist has said that he thinks rates are still going to rise this year. There was a recent survey of 6 major real estate economists, and 5 out of the 6 said that they think rates are going to continue to rise this year. The 6th one said they just think rates are going to moderate, not come back down yet. So these rate increases are having the effect the Feds wanted. They are dampening the market, softening the market. But I'll tell you, for the buyers that can afford the home payment still within those parameters, they are on a straight bead to getting a home, because they know if they can just lock in the price of the home, eventually they can refinance the rate. So the goal is, let me get the house that I want. Let's get what I can afford. Eventually rates, as they do, are going to fluctuate, and I can refinance that part. I just need to get into a house. All right, I promised we'd talk a little bit about new construction. New construction frustrations are running high among my clients. Now, I don't think my clientele on the whole is changing. It is the build process that has changed. The builders themselves really aren't even changing. What I see is it's coming back to supply chain issues and challenges, and I don't see those improving. For those of you who watch the news, read the paper, you know that we just had some major shutdowns all across China due to a recent COVID outbreak there, and they have really jumped on that and clamped down. So 3+ weeks of shutdown in these major cities and their factories is really going to push an overflow that's going to have long-lasting effects on our supply chain here. What I've seen cause this frustration among my clients is changing in the schedule of new construction. It used to be a pretty regimented 9 months with some builders, 12 months with another, and now it fluxes. It can be a 2 months one way or another, depending on how well the supply chain's flowing. There's change in consistency of communication. Certainly they think something is coming in and then it doesn't, and there's a breakdown sometimes between how well that gets communicated, or if the builder is sharing with the buyer where the breakdowns are. What I find is the buyer is thinking, well, this is my house, they're going to share with me the struggles, the challenges, keep me in the loop. The builder is managing anywhere from 15 to 50 homes, depending on the size of their project, and the builder owns all of these homes. It is no one else's homes but the builders, and they don't think, really, honestly, I'm sad to say, about each buyer very often. They are managing the project, and they kind of think of it as a bonus to communicate with the buyer. So there's definitely a rub on the communication front often. And then also tied in with that, just the piece of understanding the process. I understand the process very well. I see where the hiccups are, trying to communicate that with my client and on behalf of them them and get connected with the builder, but it is just a challenge. They are hitting hurdles all the time. Sometimes it's garage doors, sometimes it's windows, often it is labor. The weather here this year has really not been in our favor. It's been extremely windy. That affects things. It's been very cold. There's been delays in just getting gas hookups inside the homes to heat them and handle things on that side of the construction process. There's just been a lot. This year's been a big challenge, I will have to say. So lots of frustration. I share all that because it's not just the buyers who are frustrated, but then the builders, when they get frustration and they get delays, it impacts how they plan out what's coming. They will pull back on inventory. They end up pulling back on communication. They don't want to have these frustrating interactions with clients. It's not just my clients, they see it across the board. So fewer homes get released because they're trying to mitigate the process and make it a smoother process. Or, as we've really seen, builders just go to spec building where the buyers can't come in and pick their finishes. There are very few builders like that now. Richmond Homes lets buyers pick, Toll Brothers lets buyers pick, Shea lets buyers pick. That's up here in the Denver metro. That's really about it. Everyone else says, okay, we've picked all your finishes. You can go pick out the home at framing, hope it fits your wants and needs. Best of luck. So there are a lot of shifts in new construction that have just come from COVID, from communication, lots of stuff that has made people a little less happy with the process. And I share that too because I think that is going to affect the available inventory of new homes, which will affect supply and demand on the existing home side too. So we're going to see some push and pull on inventory in both sides of the market, how it affects inventory and buyer demand across both segments of the market. All right, that's your mid-monthly market update. If you have thoughts or questions, want to know how you fit into the market, please give me a call, reach out. You know, I would love to chat with you. Hey, I will see y'all next week.